So this is the lure I'm starting with today, this black magic spoon thing. My daughter picked it for me. I was looking for something about 7 grams because I enjoy the casting weight on a 6-pound line. But yeah, I don't know if it's the right tool for the job today. Definitely feels just a little kind of draggy and snaggy in these shallow waters. We'll see how we go when we get a little bit deeper. So it's got a bit of room to kind of sink, but yeah, curious. Last time I was here, lost a couple of lures with some amateur casting, so yeah, let's see how this one performs. Got a couple of black magic lures today. I think the other one's a Spin Max, 6 grams, something like that. But yeah, left the Rapala in the car. This time we're going to try with these various spinners and spoons and see how we get on. Yeah, as I say, I've been here about 45 minutes, I guess, faffing around with knots, just partially enjoying this light, but also being an amateur fisherman, without much of a guide, you're just watching as much YouTube as possible, reading books, and then going out and trying to put that stuff into practice. Easier said than done. The current tip I'm trying at the moment, I think I picked it up on the Orvis channel, is just to cast from the shore before you go wading in. You know, sometimes those fish just sit in the shallows, and rather than just wading in and spooking them, why don't you just spend some time casting from the shingle before wading into the water? So, like I say, 45 minutes in, haven't yet got my feet wet, but I believe I'm going to go and wade into the Waiohine now and see what I can find. But yeah, slow start. There you go. Shame I wasn't filming when that was coming over. I had no idea what that noise was. Yeah, so a bit of a status update. I am leaving the river, or at least leaving the Waiohine. I did find that the current is a bit strong, the river's a bit swollen, and having got myself into trouble before learning to wade, realizing that there was a bit of an oh shit moment and thinking better to back out than regret not backing out and being at the point of no return. The nature of a river is it goes one way, and if you get to a point where you're not going to be able to backtrack against the current, you can only just go with it, and where that would take you, I do not know. So yeah, not feeling the fishing, or at least heading to that spot. So I imagine, like many amateur anglers, that sometimes, you know, you get your joys from the process of fishing in other ways, and I think today is possibly one of those days where I'm going to derive my joy from finding spots and looking for access points. Maybe the fishing's good somewhere else, but I'm definitely not feeling confident today. Again, still very much figuring things out, but just struggling to get into a rhythm. I'd be interested to hear what more seasoned anglers make of that, and how they deal with reaching the river and feeling uncertain about the fishing in the river, or the current, or finding those pockets or lanes, or whatever you need to do to kind of feel confident that you're going to have a fruitful day fishing. So yes, I will head down to the Rumahanga via the north entrance, hopefully finding the north bank. I'm not 100% sure if I can reach it, but I've had a look on Google Maps in the past, and I think I can do it, so let's go looking for it. Obviously I mentioned there that I've got myself in trouble wading before, so it's a good a time as any while I'm walking back to the car to talk about that a little bit. So really excited, bought my first set of waders. You know, just the concept of being able to kind of stroll out into the river without any trepidation was really exciting. So yep, off to hunting and fishing, picked up these Snowbee waders and got them home. Everything felt great. Boots were a little bit big, I've got really small feet, and otherwise really happy with my purchase. Met up with my father-in-law and we went down to the river. He was probably, you know, a couple of 100 yards ahead of me down the river, and I got to wading out and doing some fishing, and I barely got out of the gates when I got snagged on the opposite bank of the river. And right when I got snagged, a powerboat came up the river. So I'm on, well, close to one bank. The powerboat's coming at me pretty quickly. I've got a line stretched right across the river, not knowing what's going to happen when a powerboat goes through a fishing line, and really struggling to break the line, having not brought any scissors or snips with me. So there's lesson number one: bring something to cut your line in a pinch. And you know, in the panic of the moment, decided, right, my best bet is to just walk to the other bank, wade to the other bank, and get out of the way of this powerboat without leaving a line across the river that might, you know, probably break, but possibly something more exciting might happen, and I didn't want to risk that. So headed over to the other bank, and right when I was getting there, the current really picked up and I was in reasonably deep. It was close to the top of my waders, and one thing that I only learned after the fact is that these waders should have been sold with a belt. I think all waders should be sold with a belt, and all waders should be worn with a belt. But this was not the case, and the current was to the point where I was struggling to stay on my feet. I was out in pretty open water, and I had no kind of sense that I was going to be able to get out. A couple of times I had some water lap over into my waders, not much, but kind of enough to make me worry. It was only after the fact, with a bit of research, that I realised how much I probably should have been worried about that. But so there I was, and eventually I was really lucky. The powerboat went past. I let go of my line, I let go of my rod, actually lost the rod doing that, so that's a pretty sharp lesson in itself. And managed to just kind of shimmy along the bank, and found a little bit of calmer waters that eventually I was able to shimmy across to back to the safer shingles, and a sense of relief. But my waders are full of water, my rod was lost to the river, and all I could do is, you know, enjoy the rest of the morning watching my father-in-law fish. So yeah, it was definitely a hard lesson. You know, definitely a warning to any new anglers, that wading's not a joke. Rivers, even pretty shallow rivers, as soon as it's kind of up to your thighs, it can easily unseat you. And once you go over with a set of waders on, yes, all kinds of trouble could befall you. So that was a lesson learned the hard way, and it's definitely made me a bit more risk averse nowadays. So that's where I am, walking away from the Waiohine because I don't feel confident wading to where I want to wade, and we are going in search of the Rumahanga. So As some of you may or may not realise, this is not the Ruamahanga, this is the Waiohine. This is where I started the trip today. I had a niggling thought in the back of my mind as I was driving off to the Ruamahanga that I didn't recall packing my net away. And so pulled over the car, looked for the net, couldn't find the net. Brand new net, by the way. So came back to this spot, had a good look round, looked in and around where I parked the car, looked at where I entered and exited the site, waded up the river to no avail. The net is nowhere to be seen. So it was a pretty hard lesson in making sure that you tether your net to your wading belt. I'd hooked it on, felt like it was a really nice seat for the net and felt more than comfortable. Just didn't really register. Obviously it's not a habit for me to ensure that I've tethered everything together. And yeah, I just went off fishing, and it's obviously fallen off my wading belt, and I have no idea at what point, when. Could have happened early, could have happened late. No sign of it. And yes, so as I say, the name Hapless Fisherman is probably quite appropriate. So I thought, well, what the fuck, I will just get back into the river. Yes, it's pretty spicy. Yes, it's probably not going to bring me any fish today, but why not? Why not just spend the rest of the day just getting into a rhythm, casting into the river, and just trying to enjoy the sunshine and enjoy the process of casting into a river. If it brings me a fish, it'll be a surprise for me. I'm sure anybody that watches this far will be surprised if I catch a fish as well, but that is what it is. And yes, I will continue on with the day and go and acquire a brand new fishing net at the next possible opportunity. What do you do? So here I am, a few days later. New net, so that's how that ended. Lesson learned, better luck next time, I guess. But you know, that's the point of this channel, is I'm not here to tell you what goes well. I'm here to tell you what goes badly and what not to do in future. So lesson learned, and hopefully this is the last net I buy for a while.